Hey y'all, welcome back. Thanks for stopping in. Hope you're blessed and highly favored. I hope that your bellies are full and you have had a good night's sleep. Today I want to talk about, as I clean up, I want to talk about fear. I want to talk about getting over fear and how do we do that? Because, they say it's a lower vibration, right? But it's something that as we move through our different levels and vibrations of life, different frequencies and all of that jazz, we're going to continue to encounter it at different stages, different phases for different reasons. And sometimes it's so deep within us, we don't even realize or recognize that we're dealing with fear, that is what is kind of holding us back, right? And kind of what I'm learning or have been learning for a while is just that, fear really is the biggest illusion. There's nothing to be afraid of because you are divinely guided, supported, and loved, right? That the desires that you have in your heart and your soul, those are there for a reason. Like, that's why you came here, to create those things. Like when I was a child, I wanted to do art, I wanted to be a photographer, I wanted to do all these things and blah blah blah, and like that's what I was meant to do. And it took me a long time to get back there. Like, I'm still working on getting back to that fullness of myself, I suppose. But the craziest thing about fear is we can be so stuck in it, right? And the only way to get out of that fear is to move through it, to do the thing that you're scared of. So what are you scared of? Why are you scared of it? What is making you so afraid? Is it the opinions of others? Is it that you feel like everyone will leave you? That no one will love you? That no one will like you? That no one will find your information, your creative expression, the parts of your heart that you put out into the world, that they won't find it beautiful? Do you find it beautiful? Isn't it really all for us? Because we're all one, and when we heal and express for ourselves, we're allowing and showing others to do the same, right? And we're allowing ourselves to show up more fully for others. Fear's tricky because it can be hidden in so many other emotions and so many scenarios. And it can cause like physical sensations within our body, like anxiety and stress and freeze responses, right? And the more that we hold ourselves back, the more that fear grows. It's like, how do I... like, how do I explain that? Yeah, that's just it. Like, it's like when you're holding back your emotions, it builds up within you. It builds and builds and builds and bursts. The fear is the same way. When you hold that fear in, instead of allowing yourself to work through it by pursuing the dreams and desires, and then, having the conversations that need to be had, saying the things that you need to say, doing the actions in the physical world that you've had in your mind, you can do it, you've been here before, you are an ancient soul, you are divinely protected, you are divinely guided, you know what you know, right? And if you don't know, you figure it out as you go, and you only do that by moving through the fear. And as you move through the fear, it is kind of like washed out of you. It's no longer there, right? It can be scary, but there's not really anything to be scared of. There's not anything to be scared of. So what if everyone that you know leaves you? They weren't for you. They weren't They were for the past you. They are not for the present you. They're not for the future you. You becoming a whole new being, when you release these fears, these toxic mindsets, these old holding patterns, these old paradigms, when you allow yourself to move through that and grow into the person, the being that you were created to be, it's only natural that things would fall away, that people would fall away, that habits would fall away, that our patterns of living would fall away. We would create healthier habits naturally in time, sometimes not so naturally. We have to push ourselves through that because our ego brings up all of this stuff, all of these thoughts, all of these worries, all of these fears to keep us trapped, because it's trying to protect you, because it's trying to not lose its spot within you, right? Your ego is always a part of you. It's like your humanness in a way. It's a part of your humanness. And it's not to be like killed completely. It is there for a reason. It's there, reflect on it. Take a look at it, write on it, like write about it, right? Why are you feeling this fear? What does it feel like in your body? What ways can you transmute those fears? Sometimes the fears we have are valid. It's, a safety concern, or just the uncertainty of new experiences, right? But there's different things that you can do to combat the fear, to overcome it. You are able to overcome it, and you are meant to overcome it. And, it's really your choice. Like, do you want to stay in that? Do you want to stay as this version of you? Or do you want to work toward something different, someone, a different aspect of self, to grow and learn a new you, right? A new way of being. Because we always have that potential, but our choices are what's holding us back or allowing us to move through. Are you going to put in the work? Are you going to go do defense classes and start running so that if someone attacks you, you can fight them or run away really fast? Or are you going to just worry about it all the time and hide in your house and eat all the time because you don't want to be out in the world because you're so freaked out by having conversations, or from having, you never know who's going to come at you. You really never know. As a woman, you don't know, but sometimes that fear, and we sit with it instead of like logically, like looking at it, flipping it around from these different angles and sorting it out and recognizing that it's really sometimes a little unfounded, unnecessary, and unneeded. And then a lot of times what happens is when we don't move through them, and I said this earlier, but when we don't move through the fears, through the emotions, when we don't allow it to get worked through, it builds and it grows. And so the divine is always urging us and trying to help us to become our highest self, right? That is our journey, I believe, to grow into our highest timeline. And so naturally, those things are going to keep coming up. If you're not working through them, if you're not processing these emotions and these thoughts and feelings, it's going to keep coming at you, and it's going to keep building and building and building until you're so freaked out you can't function, and you don't even know what to do, where to go, what to say, how to move, because it's so overwhelming, so overpowering. The fear is the trap. It's the illusion. The fear that anyone else's opinion matters. The fear that what anyone says of you, or how they view you, or how they perceive you matters, because it doesn't matter. And half the time ours doesn't even matter. Like, we always can transform the way that we view ourselves and perceive ourselves, right? You can change yourself at any moment. It does take time. It takes time to fully integrate those changes. It takes time to fully tap into who you are becoming and really get into that flow. But it's easier said than done, like in the beginning. But the more that you do that, the more that you step out of those little boxes that you put yourself in, the easier it gets. And the more that you will see that you had nothing to be afraid of. There was nothing to be afraid of. Like, you're free. You're meant to be here. And you're meant to live fully. And you're meant to experience this life on all these different levels. But if we choose to stagnate ourselves, if we choose to ignore what we are being called to, then nothing changes. And if that's your choice, that's your choice. I would say get into that acceptance and that learning to love yourself despite the world around you not being in reflecting who you feel you are, if you're willing and wanting to settle for it. But you don't have to. You really don't. So that's the reason I'm here doing these messages, why I'm actually doing them now, is that you don't have to stay in this mess. You don't have to stay in any of that toxicity. You don't have to stay in the fear. You don't have to keep letting it build up and overwhelm you. You don't have to continue worrying and ruminating and wondering what's going to happen. Just do it. Just do the thing that freaks you out and recognize that it's not that freaking scary. And you only learn that it's not that scary by going through it, by doing it, right? It seems like so much sometimes when we're in these lower states, everything can seem too much, that we can't do it. It's, we can't even conceive how to get there. But little bit by little bit, baby step by baby step, you get there in time and you understand and it falls into place. Okay? So don't give up on yourself. Fight the fear. Even if you have to do little baby steps, even if it's one little thing. You don't have to do something every day. You don't have to do every single thing right now. It's not that serious, right? It's really you can take it at your pace, right? But take it. Take the walk. Take the fight. The life is a fight regardless. So why not fight that fear by doing the thing that you're afraid of and recognizing and finding out that you're so much stronger, so much more capable, so much more able and ready to do the thing that you were so scared to do. You're so ready, you just didn't know it. Thanks so much for hanging out. I hope this helped, and I hope you have a great day.